Welcome to, wow, just 2 streams in the last 24 hours. I'm doing this because I'm lazy to make a regular video, and I'm going to crank this one out whether somebody joins in here or not. I'm going to talk about the transits of this week of April 22nd to the 28th. I promised I'd do this earlier in the month because I didn't want to do a full month video. We're dealing with sun ever changing in the Pacific Northwest with the lighting on my face, so please excuse that. But that's how I'm going to roll today. And that's how I'm doing, whether someone watches or not. It's interesting considering the month of April that so much astrology and so many major events have happened. You know, would we say that this like fourth week of April, the last 10 days of April, there's stuff that's happening, but this week in particular, there's like 3 or 4 transits I want to talk about. I won't spend too much time on. So I'm going to do it really quick because that's what's up. Hey, so you caught me. You're like, hey, I'm live. Yeah, hello, Canada Dry and Wild Magi, K. Michelle, Scorpio Muse, hello. Yeah, we might have a small crowd today because I didn't even announce this. And let's just jump into it, actually. So I want to talk about the full moon that's going to happen here on the 23rd of April Pacific time. And in Scorpio, we'll pull this chart up here in a second. I know some other people will be joining in, but let's do it. I think you could see me. You're going to see, you could see me. Yeah, here is on 4:48 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday, April 23rd. We have full moon in Scorpio. It's kind of like the whatever transit of the month. I mean, considering always new moons, full moons are always a big deal. This was just kind of sneaking under the radar, isn't it? But we want to take a look at this because Scorpio full moon is ruled by Mars. So, you know, Mars is such a major player this month in general. So let's do it. Hey, Angela and Sam. Hello. So that's what's up. Let's do the thing I like to do here, which is clear out here to make this like this. And basically, here is the full moon at 4 degrees Scorpio. Now, if you're thinking about things here, if you remember last fall, the last Scorpio Taurus axis nodal eclipses that were happening was at 5 degrees Taurus. This is kind of on the other end of that here. You know, we're 6 months from that point, and this is just an interesting tie-in, a tie-up to years of Scorpionic and Taurus stuff that's happened with the eclipses here. Little bit of a tie-in here once we have, Venus and some of these planets going to Taurus, but this is it. This is kind of like the tie-up from all that stuff. So we want to point out that in this full moon chart that we would look at the closest aspect we see here, and it's Pluto squaring, the sun and moon. Today-ish, officially, while I do this, we have Pluto square the sun. Pluto in Aquarius challenging the Taurus sun off the bat here. But here is kind of the culmination of that, what happens with the lunation on Tuesday. I am particularly, I think, because of this moon in Scorpio is ruled by the planet Mars, we will go to the planet Mars. And it's just it seems so slow this month, but, Mars has done so much in the last month of being the ruler of the eclipse that happened on April 8th. Then several days later, the Mars-Saturn conjunction that happened in Pisces to start a cycle, right? So here it is, we're getting to a place here where it's almost done going through Pisces. So the water emotional content of this full moon, I think, is pretty intense, but I don't see anything major getting set off unless you are like, you were affected by these degrees of 3, 4, 5 degrees in fixed signs or Taurus or Scorpio. I think you're the one who feels it. I also think you feel it if you're Pisces because of so much activity that's been going on in the Pisces area of someone's chart, or if they're Pisces ascendant and they have certain aspects happening connected to, 15 to 24 degrees, this lunation itself is a pretty big deal. So saying that, I just wanted to mention that happens on Tuesday. I need to turn off my little thingy here. Michelle says full moon conjunct my natal Pluto, Mercury, point of fortune, Juno, South Node. Hey, isn't that enough? It's not enough. You need more planets. You need more points there to be affected by. So I'm going to have to do this. I turn things off just to tone the thing down because I'm mysterious today. So that is what you see on the screen is the full moon basically there. As you all know, because this is going on, you see Uranus and Jupiter there. And let's pay attention here because here is Mercury still retrograde at 16 degrees and it's moving back, and it's pretty much a degree from the North Node where the node was during the eclipse. So let's point that out. Okay, let's do that. And but again, for me, I would say that, with Scorpio moons and full moons, there's just a lot that one doesn't know. And all you got to know is a Scorpio moon in your life where they're super chill, it seems, or whatever, but they're not forgetting things, they're remembering things, and things brew up under the surface emotionally. And the probing and the obsession of things, or how things could turn into emotion, can be super power-packed and intense. I think with Pluto here squaring this, again, if you have things at fixed degrees at 2, 3, or 4, I think you're in the cauldron right now, this one, and it's a continuing story. But for the most part, this could be somewhat of a chill full moon, hopefully. But again, all you have to know is some Scorpio in your life or someone with Scorpio moon to tell you that if something gets set off, you're going to hear the most honest, brutal truth out of all the signs you're going to get, and hopefully it comes from a loving place. And with Mars being in Pisces, that it could come from a more poetic expression of what a Scorpio moon is feeling, or what this full moon in Scorpio is. I think there's a lot that's been learned by anybody Scorpio the last 3 to 4 years. And here with this full moon, how you show yourself emotionally is key. In one way, even though by degree, it isn't like by degree, basically with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, but there's so much activity that's happened here in the Scorpio parts of people's charts and Taurus that, it's just an added something to go into this story. So that's where I feel like the most effects are going on with the lunation here is some byproduct of what's been building for a while and the tension that needs to be released. When Pluto's involved, we know that shadows are revealed. You are challenged to walk through that. That's where I could see this, depending on the situation, not for everybody, but for distinctly fixed people at these degrees where we have an intense full moon for them, okay? And be cool with how you express yourself. And sometimes it is good to go inward like Scorpio moon does, but a lot of times I think they need a pressure release valve, just like a lot of Mars-ruled people do. I think they need a healthy way to express their passion, their intensity, and what builds up with them emotionally. And that requires trust and intimacy. And I think that is pretty much the main line, the main narrative of this full moon, is how one deals with trust and intimacy coming from the Scorpio part of your chart. But again, I'm really pinpointing this. Scorpio moon, Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun, stuff like that. This is what's up, okay? So that's my quick version of it. It's always quick on here, isn't it? I want to say hi to Mandy, Bailey, and Nadia in House of Twigs, misbehaving. Let's go. This is going to be super fast today. Let us move to Scorpio moon, by the way. Moon goes into Scorpio 8:19 a.m. on the 23rd of April. And we are actually going to move to the 25th of here. And I will do this. I'll do it this way. We'll do it like this. Here's the chart for the 25th. And basically, this is the day Mercury is going to station direct and stop going backwards. It's at a standstill here at 15 degrees. Have you noticed what it's doing here? It is stationing on the nodal point. Remember, the eclipse happened at 19 degrees. The new moon happened with Chiron, moon, and sun in Aries. And then let me throw some more light on my face at this point. If it helps, does it help? Will it let me do it? So, oh my God, it's almost too much. But let's leave it like that. So anyway, that's what's up. You see Mercury right there. And now this is like the third hit. And am I correct by saying this? 1, 2, 3, sort of ish. It doesn't hit it exactly like officially, but it's a wild way for Mercury to station retrograde, considering everything that Mercury's been doing during the retrograde, during the eclipse season, and its role in things, that I think there is a certain type of force involved here, a Mars force. Now, will it be distinct and clear and on point? I don't think so. I think the sword of Aries and Mars here is a little bit dull, but it's had some training. There's been a lot that's been said with Mercury in the last really the last 5 weeks, but with the last 3 weeks during the retrograde here, and so much has been said and professed from Mercury and Aries, and some of it might seem like a mistake. Some of it was raw and unfiltered, which is when Mercury's tongue is like Aries. But here, though, there is a thing of looking forward and a way of looking at forward, north node forward, of how to evolve in the Aries part of the chart. But I'll bring in what I really feel about this is north node stuff has a tendency to be all-consuming. Like if we're eating and it won't stop. And here, the station happens then. I actually feel like this Mercury station day and situation is going to be all-consuming in someone's mind. If you've been affected by this and you've noticed Mercury retrograde has been affecting your chart, or you're in Aries, you have Mercury in Aries, I feel like this isn't not an explosion, but there's something popping here. And it could be raw and unfiltered again, but I think all-consuming. It won't stop. The brain won't stop. The words don't stop. And this is where the station happens. So in one way, even after this, when Mercury is moving forward to go over all the degrees, I think it's 15 to 26, 27 to 27 Aries, it's going to see if it figured it out and learned its lessons through the review process of the retrograde, and it will have a chance to put it into motion. There will be a feeling here of Mercury, I think, wanting to put what the last 3 weeks were into motion and what would needed to be looked at, reviewed, and the conversations that have happened from the relational perspective, because the eclipse and the nodes are Libra and Aries, Mars-Venus story. So here, remember Mercury and Venus last week had a rendezvous, right? And there's been a Mercury-Chiron rendezvous that have happened, which will happen again. So again, the next several weeks after this, we really see all the work that's done, and hopefully things are fleshed out with Mercury and Aries, and some lessons I've learned, and some of these communications and conversations and how things get from point A to point B are a lot more concise and more clear and straight to the point. Even though it seemed that way earlier, I think there could have been some byproduct and mistakes made. But that's what retrogrades are for, to go over these things and to apply them when they move forward. I just think here, when this turns direct, 5:54 a.m. on Thursday, April 25th, it's a little spicy. And I also say the spiciness too, because here's the moon in Scorpio 23, and it's hitting Jupiter and Uranus, right? So let's not forget that's part of the day. That's an intense day. And, here we got Mars ruled Scorpio and Venus ruled. And look at Venus is in Aries. Mars is pretty much moving towards a interesting conjunction that's going to happen with Neptune. So it is not boring. It seems like a boring week transit-wise. I think it's a little sneaky. I think the full moon's intense, but I don't think it's as intense as the Mercury direct station that's going to happen on Thursday. That's it. I will say Chiron is involved in all this just because, and you have to take that in consideration, that Chiron's just there, and because Mercury's going to pass over Chiron and Venus again. So Steffi G, hello, KP1231, what's up? This might be the fastest live stream I'm ever going to do, by the way. So that happens. Let's move to Sagittarius moon happens on April 25th. That night at 6:36 p.m. Pacific. I don't want to talk all these on my monastics. And we're going to skip to my last day of the forecast, actually. And we're going to go to the Capricorn moon that happens on a week from now at 2:37 a.m. And we'll just keep it there. That's not really it. Well, that's Saturday. There is Capricorn moon. You see it entering there on a Sunday. But that's not what I really want to talk about. I want to talk about what's something that happens later on that night at 9:30 p.m. Pacific, which will be into the next day on April 29th for other people, right? So we will dial in that. And I'm not going to say we end the week that way. It just depends on what endings and beginnings are with Sundays and Saturdays for you. Some people don't have normal work weeks. That's just how we do it. So here is the chart actually for that. And here we have a Mars-Neptune conjunction. Now, if you remember, several weeks ago when Venus was in Pisces and did this, I did some weird video. You can go look at it. It's some poetic thing talking about the cherry blossoms oozing sugar and popping and blossoming and orgasming into springtime. I don't know what the hell I said. A bunch of Pablo Neruda poems or some shit. So anyways, a continuing story here now is Mars about to leave Pisces, and we have the conjunction that happens here now. I think it's so to have the ruler of the eclipses, to have the ruler of Venus at the time and Mercury now moving forward and Chiron in this node, you know, again, after all possible, the caustic activity, even though Mars has been in Pisces, but the Saturnian quality in the imprint that Saturn has on Mars because of the conjunction, there has been a certain type of coldness and structure and boundaries and temporary rule sets involved in here. And Mars is still carrying this, but it gets a little bit of a reprieve. And I think Neptune here dissolves some of this. And we have a moment where I think one can disappear or move away or move into a place where at least it's a little bit of a respite from the eclipse month and a certain way of viewing all of it as in the bigger picture, let's say the deeper picture, the more for some spiritual way of looking at this. I also think here is a tendency to, on the other end, is just like Venus Neptune can do with is some sort of way of how we connect to something beyond us or what's the mystery, right? We do that in many different ways. Some do it through poetic avenues, through different creative realms. Some people do that, but they just do it with a Xanax or something, or they're picking some sort of vehicle that's to disconnect from, even though it feels like they're connecting. And here it could happen too in a different type of way and a little bit more aggressively, as in the all-in of wanting to disconnect, whether people understand that or not. So, you know, I always like this to point this out with like planetary, anything that's conjunct Neptune and Pisces. I sometimes, depending on the person, this could be total lost world. Like it really can bring up certain types of things where one can go into places that aren't let's say the most healthiest for them. At other, I think where it used to be the healthiest for them and it isn't anymore. And for a lot of other people, it's a chance to connect and disconnect from what rattles them. And we have a little island here of a Mars-Neptune conjunction. Again, it is ruling all these Aries situations, you know, the situation going on here. But if we don't just look at the day singularly, but we look at it for the last month and a half of what all this, we had Mercury and the Sun and Venus go through Pisces, and here's Mars, right? Mars is like kind of bringing up the rear here, and there is a little bit of a moving and ending of story. It is a poetic ending going on here, because basically within a day and a half, you're going to have Venus go into Pisces. No, excuse me, Venus go into Taurus, and then Mars goes into Aries on the Tuesday after that. And then that, for the video next week, I think is really when, for me, the the next chapter of the eclipse story and the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction completely get thrown full throttle all the way into the first week of June. But we have this spot here, and it's sort of a goodbye-ish to me because I'm looking at the last degree of Venus at 29 degrees and Mars going through Neptune at the end. There is a shift happening here. So it's just how you do it, right? But I won't go into the 29th and 30th of next week. What I will do is look at chat and my fade. So, hey GME, I didn't know if I said hi to you. I think I did. I'm a little fried. I'm a lot's happened. I had that weird live stream last night, but I'm tired. People got tired. You heard people get tired like during the eclipse. Like, I'm really zapped. I didn't really get that way. It was just kind of chill for me. I didn't get zapped. I'm feeling zapped here after this week. So hopefully things get rejuvenated, I think, after the full moon and Mercury moving forward on Thursday. But do you think about this? Mercury moving forward, and you're going to have Venus and Mars next week move into the next signs. They're the planets that rule the eclipses, that rule the nodes. Mercury's going to transverse all these degrees. And, when we get into May, which is basically week and a half away, I think things start to real speed up. The only thing in all that is like I think it's the May 2nd that Pluto stations retrograde. So, but I don't think that is a speed thing of things slowing down per se, because of the inner body planets moving forward and going into other signs. So, what's up, CC99 Palmer Paints? Age Earth, same. It's been an odd couple days. Looking forward to the Neptune transit. I tend to enjoy those. Yeah, it all depends on a person. I tend to enjoy it too. I think that particular Neptune Mars conjunction, even though it happens next Sunday late into Monday, I think it comes into play pretty much like the Friday the 26th and the 27th, And we also have, during all that, we have a actually, let's pull it up really quick because I just think this is interesting. You could see here, and here's the chart I just had up, right? You could see the moon is in Capricorn. But if you go back the day before on the waxing build up to all this, let's just pick a day and we'll switch it here. So here's the day before on the Saturday. You could see here that the moon in Sag, we have a mutable square that's going on that's pretty much squaring the Mars-Neptune conjunction that's building there. So I see, think about this. It's the weekend, and what people will do to escape and use Mars-Neptune, whether they know it or not, and the moon and Sag is like propelling this by squaring it. You got to watch this. At the same time, we know that it's trining all the fire planets. So again, for me, hopefully it's a chill weekend. For some people, I don't know if it's going to be chill, but I could see them partying up and letting loose. It's just by the time Sunday morning comes around, Monday morning comes around, it's like, what the hell just happened? It's almost like this huge, like some sort of release from the last 3 weeks. But yeah, anyway, I'm glad you brought that up in chat because and where is my chat? There it is right there. So, yeah. So, yeah, thank you, Scorpio Muse. And, but yeah, that's it. That's my stream. How long is it? I'm not even 30 minutes. It is just the most boring stream I've ever done. I mean, I could talk about, well, actually, this is on my list. No, that's not on my list. This is on my list. Your kiss is on my list. The best things in life. That's Hall & Oates. Huh. Anyway, that song just popped in my brain. Okay, let's point this out just for kicks. we know that Mercury station happens on the Thursday, right? So we know that it's at 15, 16 degrees. It starts to move forward, okay? So we want to go back to something here because we can see here that let's find the day that Mercury is going to conjunct Chiron for the third time. And it's here on May 5th. You could see it here in the chart. It will be the third time. So we're going to go back. This happened during the retrograde. Just so happens, you check this out. While it happens, the moon is hitting 19 degrees on May 5th, and that's the eclipse point. Talk about a conversation here that is continuing from the whole eclipse thing. It is pretty intense right here. You could see Mars is in Aries, obviously, at this point, but we want to make note, okay? That's pretty much in that 24 hours. From May 4th to May 5th, Mercury hits 19 degrees, the eclipse point, and then hits Chiron at 20. The moon's coming in to help along, okay? Then we're going to keep going. Mercury's at 21 now, past Chiron, okay? 22. Pretty much, I think it's here where it goes. It's where it's stationed. When it first went retrograde, if I'm correct, I can look this up. Actually, let's look it up. So we will go the last time. It was at 15. That's right. No, it was at 27 degrees on April 1st is when Mercury stationed retrograde at 27 degrees. And you could see here on May 12th that Mercury hits that spot. They say it's coming out of the shadow. It's a more modern way of looking at it right there. And you see here Mars is starting to do its thing, is starting to get closer to the eclipse degrees, 19 degrees. It's going to be a while. I won't go that far, but let's just for kicks, as we do this, we see here that the sun at this point on the 12th, I know someone who's got a birthday on the 12th, is about to do a Sun-Uranus conjunction, which continues the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction story, and you see Venus pulling up the rear here soon enough. And I will keep it at that just to do a Mercury review. And that is my weekly forecast. Hall & Oates. Oh yeah, you know what? Since we're talking Hall & Oates, let's look it up. But I'm going to give you a different version of the song. By the way, his channel's really good. One of the Hall & Oates crew. I'll put this one in chat. This version. And here in the chat, this is one of my favorite versions of the song and a lot of Hall & Oates tunes. It's by the Bird and the Bee duo. Years ago, they did a tribute to Daryl Hall and John Oates. But Daryl Hall, if you go find Daryl Hall's his show that he is on YouTube for the last so many years, he invites people over to sing on his show in his studio. The one he just did with CeeLo is really, oh, dude, CeeLo is no joke. But anyway, there's a link for you. You can have that at some afternoon or Sunday listening if you're on the West Coast, if you're somewhere on the other side of the world, you know. Good morning and good day to you. And that's what's up. The quickest live stream, my forecast for the week, because I promised this at the beginning of the month. I know I don't have the weirdness and whatever, but that is what's happening. I want to see how many people I have when I do things on the fly like this. And 38 people. Good. Thanks for joining me here on this. As always, you ever thinking about getting a reading or doing whatever, talk to me. I thought about putting some special up. I've been putting specials up. I'm not going to put a special up anymore. But definitely if a Jupiter-Uranus thing's on your mind, I got a way of looking at the Jupiter-Uranus and Taurus type of thing where I'm going to look at both of the Venus rule parts of your chart and kind of show you in the rest of the year at where that will get, in a sense, accessed with certain transits for the rest of the year. I do things like that. More specific. I want to thank some of the people who booked with me in the last month. Right now, I am like open. with bookings, and it's the first time in a long time. I almost want to shut it off for 2 weeks, but I'm around. I will alter my schedule because I need to rest up. At the same time, I'm around, And GME, thank you for the super chat for $3.99. If you're all looking at the super chat, it's like this emoji figure is throwing like a cup of tea at me, like pomegranate tea or something. What is happening over there? Let's actually look at this. What is it? Can I blow this up? It's like I see that? See, like, it's like, can I telestrate this? Yeah, like, see how this, like, what kind of tea is it? Rooibos or something? I mean, I'm not a coffee drinker, so throw it at me. There you go. Okay, so GME, thank you for that. And that's what's up. You got a question before I leave? Give it to me. But yeah. Silence. All right, let's go out with a little bit of something, and I'm out of here. Blood tea, of course. Hey, Sewer. Blood tea. Yes, of course, blood tea. Oh, why wouldn't it be blood tea? Why? 11 tea levity, hibiscus mint. Yeah. Why wouldn't it be blood tea? All right, I got to get out of here. Here, you know what? I see what you're asking me in chat here. And Scorpio Muse, very kind words. You're welcome, Scorpio Muse, for what you said in the chat, but you know what? I'm just a dude at the crossroads, man. I'm just a mirror. You all do the work. I'm just kind of chilling. But y'all do the work. Y'all do the answer. I just like pickleball it back to you. It's just in what way? The vessel. Sometimes I'm more Saturnian, other ways I'm more, Venus, whatever. But it's y'all are doing it. It's not me. It's not me. So, all right. Speaking of, let me do this because I'm gonna answer a question before I leave. Have a good week, everybody. Before I leave, I'm gonna drop this link here because someone's asking me about something. I'd sure like to have my. Oh, there it goes. You can't see what I'm doing. And I don't want to show you. There. And there. And for the chat, all you got to do, people know, if you want to book with me, go check it out. I'm going to tell you right now that maybe I gotta block out my schedule this week. I need the next 3 days, so it might be after Wednesday. I don't know, but I'm going to push this. And if someone books, they book, and then I do it, and I have to alter my schedule. But to answer you, Mandy Bailey, in the chat. So I'm going to have a treat and go take care of my world and read up on some transits and I think, actually, it's not that I think, that I feel that I'm walking into something here soon. And there's projects that I'm working on, and there's certain things brewing, but there's something that I don't know. And I just know enough, this feeling that I get. And it sort of throws me a little bit because I have to watch my back kind of feeling, but it's only because I'm Saturnian based. And it's only because I grew up a certain way, like on city streets, always watch your back. And I walk in the middle of the night down the middle of the street. I just have this thing. But it's not a bad thing. I just have a feeling about something here that has to do with the rest of the year and what I'm doing as an astrologer, but in my life. And so for me, and I'll end it this way, it's not just what happened last night with Jupiter Uranus. This has been brewing for a couple years. I don't know what it is exactly, but I know what I've done in the last couple years, right? In the Taurus, Scorpio parts, my fixed parts of my chart, that I know it's something's about to shift in another way. That's why I've made the Pluto promise to myself. That's why, there's other things here, private things I know from the fixed angles of my chart. I just know it. And I think for a lot of people, let's say this particular Jupiter Uranus thing and stuff, like they might know what it is in a sense of the style and the narrative, but not know the exact details of it all. But just know you're not alone, because I'm feeling it. Again, a part of me is a little bit like, but most of it is like the possibility. And, for me, if it's, you will know when certain things change, because obviously I will tell you, or you'll see things happen, but something big is coming down the line for me. And that's what I feel. I just don't know what it is. And so for me, it's the balancing of schedule. It's getting ready to go work a major astrology conference in the next month, very soon, about in a month, and other things. And I just have this something, and I have to prepare and know and be alert for that. Knowing that something's going to happen, it's that interesting space of preparation, but you don't know what it's for, but I'm never going back to whatever, something I'm walking through the door. So I just want to say that to you all to end here. Cookerzilla, good to see you. And Susie also, and to end this with my weird intuitive somethings that I'm trying to figure it out, So, hey, Cookerzilla, I'm reading what New Moon in November began to de-initiate a no longer fulfilling relationship dynamic. Virgo Libra Moon has been ruminating aftershocks after being a couple months. Oh, I see. That's right. That's interesting you say that, Cookerzilla, for those who are affected by the Scorpio full moon on Tuesday. And that you catch things from the past that lead up to a point because of 6 months ago. We can remember like when the new moon happened and the eclipses are happening back then. So Susie, the full moon in Scorpio is already kicking my emotional butt starting today already. Scorpio rising here. I went through the worst of it today, and it gets better. I hope it does get better for you, Susie, and do whatever you got to take from the moon function, regardless of the sign that it's in. The moon is how we get our essential needs met, and that's the way to look at it, okay? And, so I'm going to actually press the heart emoji in chat like this and do fanny faces and this party thing and this weird face and the 100% and say goodbye to all of you. But that's what's up. Thanks, y'all. Time for me to go. Do I go to here? No. What did I do yesterday? I had... No. Oh, no. No. This is the... Oh. Oh, yeah. Let's just end it that way. I forget. This is a slide from way back. This is from my Pluto promise things. Remember the things I was telling you guys to do? Let's just end it this way. This is funny.